to that street and talk proper. Talk with accent.
If you want to, it's not preferred.
Probably no.
All right. Hey, what is up, YouTube? It is Mr. Chingasos here. Welcome to episode 3. I'm sitting across from my buddy Justin Fennell,
What's up? What's up?
lead singer from Dyscarcia here in the 806. We're gonna talk about his introduction to music, being in a band, what's it like, new stuff, and just kind of just new stuff with him. So I'm glad you're here, and we're gonna get into it as soon as I share the shit out of this page. But until I get it all shared, I'll let Justin say some things, and then I'll get to question asking.
Some things. Well, I'm glad to be on here, man. I appreciate you having me, and
Of course.
appreciate you supporting the scene and supporting Dyscarcia like you do. You know,
Yeah, man.
we like doing the Three Amigos podcast and stuff, and I'm down to hang out with you cats all the time, bro. Y'all do the service, and I think that the community needs to see more of what the metal scene has to offer, and instead of the scary mosh pits and eye makeup. So I don't know anything about either one of those. But no, we're trying to grow this scene too, and y'all are one of the people that are helping us out. One of you especially, and the other guys that you work with too. So I'm glad to be here.
Fuck yeah, man. I'm sober, and super glad that you're here. We're gonna get it.
Sober's good, man. It's
Yeah,
all right.
being sober is good. I enjoy.
Shout out to all the people that are trying to beat that addiction or quit the alcohol or whatever you're trying to quit. If it's chewing on erasers or plastic cups, I mean, it's okay. Just bear with it, man. Keep on it. If you're battling with that alcohol and stuff, get some help. People want you around. We know it hurts you and it's poison. So I'm not going to discredit you or talk bad about you because you have drinks and have fun, but I don't like to see my friends preemptively killing themselves either. So I'll always, and talk to you about that. I'm over 3 years sober, and I've done it before in the past. So it's a good thing for me, man.
Oh yeah, I like to hear that. One of those things that I sometimes I do suffer with is drinking. Drinking is one of those things where it's like sometimes I can have one, and then sometimes one turns into two. Next thing you know, I'm blackout drunk, and I don't remember how I got to where I'm at, and then I'll just do some shit from there. Also,
I've been there, yes, sir. I understand, man. And it's not that I couldn't control my drinking, but it's always there's one time out of 25 or 30 that something happens that is negative, that overrides any of the positive that came out of all of that. I've lost family members, man. I have a younger brother that died from it. I got in trouble over it many, many times in my life. If it wasn't for alcohol, if I take that one thing out of the equation in my life, I have a different course, which
yes.
I'm not complaining about. I have zero regrets because I love what I'm doing and I love my life, and wouldn't trade anything for any of the world. But who knows where I would have been if I hadn't allowed the alcohol to interfere with my lifetime and stuff like that. So
Yes, sir.
Just power out to all y'all people that want to stop. It's okay to not drink. You're not weird. Well, I am, but that's beside the point.
Honestly, man, it's one of those things like I do like to have a drink. It's just not one of those days. Today's one of those days where I'm just like, man, I'm just gonna just kick it and just do my thing. I'm gonna go out there to Scooters tonight and check out Atomic Cheesecake.
We're gonna check them out tonight. We'll see what they got to offer. Shout out to you guys.
Yep. So shout out to my buddy Joe. Shout out to Steven. Shout out to Caroline. Shout out to Trevor. I'm excited to see, like Justin said, I'm excited to see what y'all offer and everything like that. It's gonna be gravy, baby.
Absolutely. A little cheesecake for dessert.
Yeah, man. A little cheesecake for dessert. I'm with it,
man. I like supporting the scene. I don't, I mean, yeah, I'm in a metal band. I don't know, it's a thrashy, groovy crossover band. You can't really label us or whatever. We're old farts, whatever. We just have a good time. We'll play some pretty damn good metal music. But I support it all, man. I try to go and, see things in the community. And even if it's down the street from where I live, June Jazz at Amarillo College. You know, they every Tuesday they have something, and then Sam Houston Park has something out there with Starlight Ranch, and they have Tuesday evenings in the park. And I think they do that throughout the summer. And I'm just into support music in this town.
Yeah, man.
So
Sorry. So that lets me know what's going on.
pretty cool.
I'm all for like supporting music in this town. I was so back when I was younger, I used to go to the War Legion shows all the time back in the day. I've met some of my good friends at the War Legion. I've seen some great bands there, and
Absolutely.
so I've moved out of Amarillo, and so I kind of fell out of the metal scene. And then when I moved back, I tried to get back in and kind of just hang out and stuff. But I worked and other things kept happening. So well, here I am in this position where I do go to the shows now, and I shout out to my brothers in Corrosive Wrath because if it wasn't for them, I wouldn't have been back into the metal scene.
The
So
homies, Corrosive Wrath. Look at dudes.
oh yeah, that's my brothers
All
there.
you guys.
And so anyway, it's starting out, trying to get back into the scene. So I thank you for shouting us out for coming into the scene and trying to help the scene be better and being a part of it. I love music. Music is life.
Yeah, it absolutely is, dude. I've met a lot of people through that way, just going to shows and even just being a drunk fan of us for a long time.
Yeah.
It's something that we need as human beings to help us through our mundane. And it's one of the best things. It's medicine, whatever you want to call it, for me, or an antidote to the poisons that I receive on a daily basis.
Yeah.
From powers that be. So, man, it's something that people that of all walks of life can come together to and enjoy, and you don't even have to talk. You just sit there and shut up and listen.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing too.
Man, that's one of my things is that's how honestly it's kind of person I am. Like I like to be, like you said, shut up and listen. I try to get as much advice from anybody as I can, and so
that's a good way to be.
Yeah, man.
I mean, my mouth is over in my ass most of my life. So,
yeah.
Why not?
Right.
This is a fitting end, I guess, if this is the end. But I'm getting close to the downward slide, bro. Over that big hill.
Yeah.
Century. So I don't know. Like I said, 16-year-old me would have loved to have seen this, but 16-year-old me would have been like, nah, bullshit. You've never done that because you don't like singing and you don't like crowds and there wouldn't even been a thought process.
Oh yeah. If I could look back at myself at 16 years old, man, I think 16-year-old me wouldn't recognize me now. He'd be like, "Who's this guy?" Because 16-year-old me was. So I love getting high and skateboarding.
Right.
Right behind you is my bass and my skateboard, and
Cool.
those two things I look at every time I do a podcast. I leave them out just for that reason because it's like those. It's one of those things like it brings me back. But 16-year-old me would be like, "Fuck are you doing, man?" I'm like, "Listen, I'm doing what I want, I'm living out my dream, and kind of just being me."
That's what it's about, man. If you don't get out there and try, you'll never do it.
Yes, sir.
I don't know who the famous quote was. You're right or wrong. You're right and wrong. If you say you can, you can. If you say you can't, you can't.
Right.
So it's a mindset thing.
I'm with it. Now let's go. I do have, like I said, this is different from Three Amigos. I do have questions.
Ooh, serious questions.
Serious questions. And shout out to Google for helping me out with some of these questions. Because some questions I have, sometimes I'll come up with on the fly, but my past few solo podcasts. So real quick before I get into the questions, my past few solo podcasts, I'm real nervous. I'm nervous to do this.
Okay.
So when I bring in guests and I get to do one-on-one with them, I'm nervous because it's like I try to be more professional, more serious, get the questions out. When I'm on the Three Amigos, I have two other people backing me up, so I can say something funny and then laugh and then look at them and be like, "Hey man, I'm struggling here. It's time for you to ask a question."
Right.
This one's just all me. I got to get into it, so I'm like, I try to stay more serious. So I went in and just looked up questions and started writing stuff down. And then, after getting to know you a little better, I do have more questions that will come up here. But
there's always more questions than answers, right?
Yes, sir. There's always a question.
Even
it's
if
one of those things.
Fifth.
Right? So, 5. But at the end of the day, man, at the end of the day, I think learning this style of journalism is fun, you know. And plus,
Sure.
think about it this way: like, let's say out of all my episodes, this is the one that goes viral. You know,
Okay.
not only does it put Dyscarcia over, not only do people get to know you better, it's one of those things that's like, man, he was on Pacos Chingasos. Go check out that. You know, he's
Right.
interviewing everybody. And so this one was originally a wrestling podcast, but I've expanded out to my friends. So
Okay. Cool.
I think I have a lot of friends out there. So it's one of the things that's like,
Well, I'm
let's get
glad you
into it.
consider me one of your friends. I'm
Fuck
glad
yeah.
to be on here.
Fuck yeah, I'm super happy here. So this first question is describe your musical background and how you got started.
The musical background was always trying to steer clear of singing or choir or anything. You know, like there was
Yeah.
certain things you had to do in school for music credits. So mine was steered more to like I would go to orchestra or band. Absolutely not wanting to be in front of people, not wanting to even talk in front of people. Didn't want my picture taken. You know, not necessarily that I was shy. I just wasn't interested. Like,
Yeah.
you know, hid from pictures in the family. Like, where's Justin at? You know, so
Yeah.
and I don't know what that was about. I don't remember like being upset about it or anything like that. But it was just like I don't want to be in the forefront of anything. So, um, but I've always loved music. Like our family and stuff, we'd take road trips and. You know, we got to bring a cassette tape or whatever, and we'd like it was like a 6 hour. Everybody got to pick a tape because there was six of us riding down the road a lot of times.
Yeah.
And we traveled a lot and listened to music because I played soccer growing up and traveling club soccer and stuff like that. So I played up into practicing at WT in college before I ended my career early. That's another story for another time. But
Right. Understandable.
that's one of those alcohol stories and interesting stuff. But it is what it is. And so as soon as I stopped competitively playing soccer, I was like, well, man, I've missed out on a lot of music that I want to see. So I found a partner, and me and my ex-wife got together and married, and fucking started going to shows and seeing music, and then started wanting to like promote shows and do things in Amarillo too, because I was going to shows in Amarillo. We were going to San Antonio, Denver, just traveling around seeing festivals. That's when Ozfest was big, Mayhem Fest was big. So I'm always a fan of music. I was always a fan of the local scenes. I had friends that were in bands, you know, like
Yeah.
from way back. So I started promoting. I went through a divorce, started promoting, bringing bands from my friends from upstate, and I started hiring Nate Brown to do my sound and lights and stuff like that. And I had a couple of shows, and me and him kind of built a rapport, and I had a pretty good show. And he uh, did a real good job for me. So I was looking to do another show and have a benefit from one of our friends, and this is pre-COVID. So talking about it and discussing it, and he had me over to his gym house one night to talk about it. And as a matter of fact, we were going to go over there and drink beer, and I was drinking beer at that point in time. So I brought me a 12 pack, and I brought him a 12 pack. Went to the jam house to talk business about another show that we were going to do. So when I showed up, Rob and Jeremy Thompson, first drummer I ever got to work with, was sitting there warming up, and Rob is the original dude from Dyscarcia that we jam with. I don't know his exact original line, but he's original OG Dyscarcia. Shout out Rob Flores Montoya de Santa Ana. He gets mad at me when I do that, but I love him.
He's there.
Rob Montoya.
Rob Montoya.
Yeah. But so Rob hands me, he's like, what songs have you been working on? Nate said he had somebody to audition for the band. And I was like, no, Nate and I were talking business, and I brought some beer to drink. So I was like, no, Nate said he had somebody auditioning. And I was like, well, definitely it's not me. So ended up talking to Jeremy and wanting to hang out and jam with him. I'm a fan of music. Like I'll go over and hang out at your jam house. I did it a couple of times with Nate's former band Vision Scarred and stuff. And that's the band that I was talking about getting on some of the shows that I was wanting to promote coming. And so we jammed that night and had a good time, and it was a drunk fest, and we partied. And I fully was aware that they were like, okay, we're gonna go get a real singer now, because those guys are talented musicians and they've been doing this a long time. And I'm fresh off of nothing, never done anything, never wanted to sing. I'd only karaoke'd a couple of times before that. So it was kind of like a little karaoke session with them. And I thought, surely, well, actually, I didn't think that they were even considering having me back. And when they asked me to come back the next week, like, you want to come back, I really didn't know if they were just messing with me or serious, or, you know what I mean? But that's kind of when I guess I'm not a panicky guy. I don't get nervous. I've been in pressure situations, and I'm cooler than the side of on the side of the pillow, man.
Hell yeah.
But it was like, oh shit.
It's like, damn, now I really,
do I want to really do this? And if I do, I don't want to waste these guys' time because I don't want to look like a fool in front of them. And B, that's a commitment, man. That's like a relationship to 4 or 5 other dudes. No homo. Maybe a little, I don't know. We pinky a lot. Shout out, Rob. No, and so they asked me back, and I made the decision I'm going to go try this. I'm going to give it a shot and start working on my horrible singing skills and horrible voice. And so here I am. I'm approaching 5 years in the band, and I've found a home. I've found sobriety from alcohol, and couldn't be better, bro. It's a lot of fun now.
Fuck yeah, man. Honestly, every time you tell the story, I get more and more inspired. Just because it's like, when I started my band, it was one of those things that's like, I was nervous. I just thought it was just a drunken ramble, and they were like, "Nah, man, we'll call you next week." We went in and just started getting at it. So, hearing you say, it's like, man, like I get inspired. Your dedication makes me dedicate to be better for anything. So, like, I appreciate that.
I appreciate that too, man. Like, watching this music scene and things that are going on right now is really cool. Watching people pop in that are wanting to build venues and wanting people to put shows on and bring bands in, bro. It's really neat to watch a lot of this taking flight again. Amarillo was dormant for a long time, didn't have a lot of shows and didn't have stuff going on around here, and people complain. All growing up, we don't have anything that's going on. There's not any shows anymore or anything like that. So this is awesome to see. And then your story's cool too, man. Like getting out there and trying it, bro. And then you're just like, oh, this is what I'm gonna do, dude. I'm gonna give me a band, and I'm gonna do the things that we do. And no, I apologize. No, you're good. And start throwing down and learn how to get in there and sing some songs, bro. It's cool. I just enjoy live music 100%. You see my friends up there having the stones to get up there and go on stage and show their art. And this is a form of art. And show their art to people, without question, without anything. You just get up there and go for it, bro. It's cool as shit.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'll tell you what, the first time I got, Rob makes fun of me for this one, and I'm shout out to my Corrosive Wrath brothers again, because he actually just said, "What's up, fellas?" in the comments.
Oh, hey, yeah, what's up, Rob? Shout it out to Corrosive Wrath. Shout out again, Corrosive Wrath.
Yeah, shout out to them. You're actually doing a show with them here pretty soon.
Yeah, it's coming up. I think we're on a flyer now for. I think it's Alone in the Morgue or something here. It's coming up in September.
Yes, sir. But the West Texas Expo as well.
Yeah, we were going to talk about that West Texas Entertainment Expo coming up. Maybe was it 3rd and 4th?
Yes, sir.
And we got a lot of people going out there to play and showcase their talents, whether it be recording, producing, jamming, whatever else is going on out there. This is a good thing for this area and a good thing for musicians to network and get to know things about more of the business side of this rather than just going out and playing a show and getting drunk.
Hell yeah.
Like, turn your craft into something that, is at least a positive for you, and at least it could pay for it's a self-sustaining hobby.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, hearing that, and like I'm dedicated and inspired to be there and go do it, because also I seen that flyer. But before I even do that, my first time on stage, I get shit for it, but like they're like, man, you got a standing ovation, and he's like, I've never seen anyone else get a standing ovation. So my first time on stage is at the Bomb City Bar Fights, and shout out to Dan for the bar fights.
We love playing those, Dan. We love those. We have a good time.
So that show, that was actually not my wrestling debut, but it was I took 2 hits from the Necro Butcher, and the Necro
Yeah,
Butcher.
I remember you talking about your wrestling days. And
Yeah.
stuff like that. That's cool too, man. That's a tough gig. Those
Oh,
dudes
yeah.
are about it.
Oh
And I
yeah,
love them dudes. All them dudes go hard, and it's a show.
yes sir.
And that's why Dyscarcia and that wrestling stuff go together like two cousins in an Arkansas holler, man.
Yes,
You know,
sir.
it's like that is perfect match. You know,
Yeah.
we're kind of crazy old local hillbillies playing some damn metal music, and they're out there slamming each other on fucking shopping carts, and, you know, all just amazing stuff. Pile driving each other into a bouquet of light bulbs, and smashing each other with the kitchen sink. Great time.
Man.
That's what Dyscarcia is about.
So I saw that they were actually on the expo as well. The bar fights. So I mean,
cool, man.
I'm excited to see the bar fights out there and getting down, doing their thing.
Well, shout out to SOB and all the guys out there.
Yes, sir.
Everybody involved with that. I don't know who else, but I'm sorry, I don't have names to throw out there. But everybody that's involved with that West Texas Entertainment Expo is definitely valued, in my opinion, and y'all are doing good things. I appreciate y'all, Denny Burke. Broken Solace is doing some good things and moving forward with their new band lineup. And this town is growing, and it's growing the music scene, and it's awesome to witness. I'm gonna keep saying that. I refer back to that a lot because, and I remember whenever it was like there's not much to do, and there's like 4 people at a show that you should have like 50 or 100 at least.
Yeah.
And so it's good to see. Homeboys bands coming up and just jamming. You got one, Homeboys and Chromius just burst onto the scene the last couple of years, just destroying, dude. So it's like, wow.
I'm excited to see them live again. It's been a minute since I've seen them.
Those are all my good homeboys, man. I've been loving them dudes for years and years. Like even listening to All Red on the damn radio back in the day, bro. That's so cool. And then to be with him and watch him play, and it's awesome to be a part of this scene. I really do.
Yes, sir.
I enjoy that, and it's a good thing, man.
I think we may be too late, but it'd been nice, if one of us reached out and see if we couldn't get onto the expo. When I'm talking about the Three Amigos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
just show up.
Yeah, just show up. Just all 3 of us.
Crash podcast.
Yeah, just doing. Well, because they let us
on.
Right? They let us Oktoberfest. We were over there. I think you seen us out there.
Yeah.
And so it was one things there, man. It was like 420 Fest. We were supposed to be there, but scheduling and other things have happened since then.
Yeah. But that was an interesting deal. We had a good time. We had one of our better sets, quite frankly, and there was not metal fans out there. I think we made more fans.
So. All right, everyone just out there headbanging and moshing?
They're having fun, dude. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. There's something about that song about your mom.
Right.
People really do enjoy that. Even if you're, 47 and you're looking for some hemp products and you hear some big old fat white guy up there singing about your mom.
It's like, that's interesting.
You're going to stop and watch. Yeah, so it's an attention getter for sure.
Oh, yeah. So when I went out there, I checked out my buddies in Headshot Gang, which is O'Neill, DMC, and Creature.
Homeboy's crushing it, bro. I love Creature. I love O'Neill, man.
So, my koozie that they gave me at the last podcast, shout you guys.
Oh, yeah, I love them dudes, man.
So, I'm going to dive into another one of these questions.
Yes, sir.
And,
coffee's so good, too. I love coffee, by the way.
Yeah, coffee, man. For me, when I like coffee in the morning, and then when I go work out, it's pre-workout, C4 energy, love it all. Right. So this one says, what are your favorite genres, and what styles of singing do you prefer? I know metal is at the top, but I guess this question kind of goes to when you're driving. Because I don't know if you're like me. When I'm driving, I sing to whatever. I have my own solo concerts in my car.
Absolutely. Well, so I'm from the era of putting on an album, side A, side B. It was more tapes back in the day.
Yes, sir.
I was not traveling in car as much with CD player from that, but we did. But it was still you pop in a tape and you listen to the whole thing. So singing along to Queensryche Empire when it comes out, that was my dad liked that. So that was one of the things we could jam that in the car. They weren't so much hip on Exodus and things like that. And they would tolerate it. But after a couple songs, they're like, just calm it down. The kids are trying to, But my parents were always really cool about stuff like that. So, uh, like Texas is my favorite genre. Let's put it that way. So whether it be Texas death metal, Texas rap, Texas hip hop, Texas underground, whatever it is, man, Texas is king in this motherfucker. So
Yes, sir.
I don't care what anybody says. We're popping, and there's good musicians coming from Texas, good bands popping off, and get with it, man. We love this stuff. So. I came up listening to a lot of stuff, like Michael Jackson. I like that stuff. The Thriller album is still my all-time favorite.
Hands down, my
I ain't
favorite
playing
album.
like that Thriller dance, bro. I'll still even throw it out there sometimes, just messing around, or doing something at work. But,
Yeah.
So my tastes range from anywhere. I mean, if it sounds good live, like I'm gonna go see the show. I've got closets full of band shirts and stuff like this that I wear, and I've gone to see every one of the bands. I probably can't name you 3 songs on every one of the shirts. I can't even spell some of the shirts or say some of the shirts. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I go check out live music, and if I like your stuff, I'm gonna buy your stuff. If I hear it on the radio and I'm like, and really nobody listens to the radio anymore hardly anyway, but
Yeah.
hearing it just kind of like produced circumstances. I want to see you live. I want to see what your show's like, what your energy's like. I'm into high energy music. Whether like one of my favorite people right now is Prof. Dude, he's a rapper out of Minnesota. And,
Oh, hell yeah.
bro, he's got crowds that he has. He was playing that he gets out in a inflatable boat and like crowd boats on their crowd. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's music like that. That really, the entertainers are in touch with the crowd and then the fans, and it's like we come together for one thing, and we're here to have a good time, throw down, and release all our bullshit stresses from the week and the day, and this is our outlet for everybody. So help people out have their outlet too.
I respect it. I like it. So this next question that I have is, tell me about your creative process when writing or composing your songs.
So I'm new to all that too.
Yeah, same. So same here. I'll give you a quick before. I'm sorry to let Chance. Chance here. I understand being new to it because this is this is the first time for anything, but we are writing a new Bomb City Pile Driver song, and it's called Blood Money.
Okay.
And so this is the second song that I'm trying to write, and this is why I'm glad I had my brothers in Corrosive Wrath, because they sit with me and we write it and we talk about it and stuff. But man, I understand being new to this. So I'll let you answer the question now, but I had to get it off my chest because before I forgot it.
So off the top of my head, I have some sort of creative ability, and if I can record that and do that, that helps. But I can't really pre-write something and then fit it. I mean, I have to be able to have drums and a guitar, and there has to be a skeletal structure of the song for me to even be able to start thinking about putting lyrics to. We can have a concept. Like I'm very conceptual. Like there's some things going on in my side project, and it's gonna be really cool. We've got some conceptual stuff going on, and I like that stuff type too. It is exciting. Excuse me. It is exciting. But that being said, like whenever I go in, I want a riff and a drum beat, and I want to be able to in there like free jamming it, and then basically make even noises to a cadence. Start finding a cadence. Start enunciating vowels. Start like maybe even thinking of a word here or there, and you keep a pad and pen. I write things down. And so, like the latest one that we performed, the one that I wrote is When the Shit Hits the Fan, and it's turned into kind of like a little favorite of folks. It's kind of a little banger, out of nowhere. And to be real honest, Engine, like telling the truth, bro, I didn't like it at first, and I didn't think it was a Dyscarcia song, and it wasn't. It was poppy. And Nate comes up with good riffs. I'm not knocking Nate for anything like that, but we were all kind of like, And so we kept working on it, and whittling it down, and I started writing lyrics to it, and then we started playing it one day, and it just started like popping, bro. It was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
really, and I'm like, damn it.
It's like,
I don't want this, but yeah, whenever. And so Nate was kind of gigging me, and he was like, "You don't even have any lyrics written or anything." And I was still at that point making noises and trying to get. And I did have stuff written down, and I did have lyrics, and he was like, "Okay, maybe I mean, we'll try it." And so we started working it in, and then we've got a couple more songs that I've written for Dyscarcia, and they're on the back burner. We've gone through some lineup changes since I've been there. There's been 4 drummers. We're working on our newest drummer, Angel Tejada. Shout out to that dude. That dude's a beast on the drums. We're starting to gel with that guy, and he's starting to come around like he's a force, man. And proud to have him in our band.
Fuck yeah.
I'm proud of my brothers, man. They're doing a lot of good things. They've been working on themselves lately and working on their guitar skills and bass skills. I never leave Kirby out. His mom's my favorite for sure. But we just we have a good time with it, man. We want to make a good time, but we want to make it good too.
Yes, sir.
So, and I feel like the progression I've made in the last almost 5 years is leaps and bounds. From anywhere to my stage presence to my cardio and my singing range and breath range and stuff. My gut's not near as big as it was when I first started.
Yeah.
But no, I think we're putting out some good stuff. I mean, I think we have a little following, and people show up to see us. They might just see which one of us is going to fall out first. They might have numbers on it, I mean, it's always the fuck we are. It's good to have Angel in the band. At least we got some young guy that's stud that can give all of us CPR or something. If we
I'm sorry, man. It reminds me of so the first time we did the Three Amigos with you guys. Shout out to Anthony from Horde Demise.
Love you, Anthony.
It's like when you said that, you're like, now that we got this young guy in our band, give CPR. It just made me think of that comment that he said. He's like, which one of you guys' knees creak the loudest? And so,
right. Well, we got those. Yeah. There's competition in the band. Like creaking knees, bro. Our band's average age is like 800, I think. Methuselah's age, right? Golly.
So, coming into this and stuff, have you worked with any other bands? Or have you done any collaborations with other bands? I know collaborating with bands is now getting way bigger here in Amarillo. I remember back in the day it really wasn't talked about or heard of, like other bands like collaborating with each other. But
well, there's some talks about certain things, and I can't I can't speak on things that aren't happening at the moment or anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like to collaborate. I love music, so it doesn't. I'm not just stuck as a metal vocalist either. I think that I have other things that I could dabble in, and I've talked to some people. Jeremy Daughtry was showing me some things that they're doing, kind of like a jazz band beats type thing, and having guest appearances with people singing over that. So I'm interested to see what they've got going over there, and anything, man. I think I'd like to work with Preacher. We've talked about that some. Shout out to Preacher at the 420 Fest. He came up and sang the shit with us. And, I like that dude. He's got some good vocal talents. Neil's blazing amazing, bro. I love that dude. He's fire, dude. And those two collabing together, that's on point, man. So, like I said, this area, the 806 area is alive, bro. And it's got some good stuff. I want to be playing shows and love it. So what does that take? That's why I'm in another, side project. I want to try to do as much music as I can.
Right.
And I love my brothers in Dyscarcia, and I'm going to work hard for those dudes to the day that Dyscarcia is no longer. And I hope we could be like Guar and live forever, just as long as we have enough crack from here on earth to continue on.
Right. Hell yeah. See, man, I like that. Let me see real quick. These questions are kind of like ridiculous, but they're actually no, they're not. They're not ridiculous. I like them. Like this one right here, man. It says, Tell me about your favorite performance experience and why it was memorable. That's one that's I honestly that's one that's never even been asked on the Three Amigos podcast. So
That's a good question because I mean, what I'm 25 shows under my belt or something like. I don't even think I have that many. I don't know. Actually, I have a few.
yeah,
But I'm going to tell you right now, the first show I ever did with Dyscarcia is a number one, the most memorable. I mean, that was tough. I was invited into the band, and then they're like, all right, we have 6 weeks until August 19th to play a show. And I didn't have all the songs memorized, but I didn't have them on the phone either. I had them written down. So I had 6 songs to memorize in 6 weeks. Well, COVID, all that went haywire, and we didn't know if we were going to play, didn't know if we were going to not play, didn't know they were going to let us play or not. That was one of the places that got to stay open because the patio area. And
was it Zombies?
it was Zombies, yeah. We had a good time. Shout out Zombies.
Yeah, shout out Zombies.
We played a lot of good shows there too. And bro, it was packed and it was popping, and I was still drinking at the time, so I was a little nervous and had me a couple of shots of whiskey. Thought that'd calm me down, and it didn't calm me down. It just made me want more shots of whiskey. But no, I think that stepping up on that stage, and we started off, and it was people there in our face, and it was like, all right, it's unavoidable. So I memorized the songs, but I was still nervous, and I'm not like I'm not gonna put a music stand up there, and I'm not gonna pull out a sheet of paper or anything like that. I'm gonna tell you right now, they were right in my pocket, bro. Like I kept all the songs right there, just like it's some kind of metal pacifier or something. Like,
Yeah.
well, if I forget the lyrics, they're at least in my pocket while I'm forgetting them.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have time to stop and be like,
Yeah.
stay on point. And if you're making mistakes with the words, correct that in a second. Just stay on time. You know, you can make mistakes and people don't even notice. You know, they know, but do they really know?
Right.
So, I've just learned a lot over that. But that was an intense time. You know, that's like going and being in front of an audience that I like, oh, this is not a karaoke crowd. These are people expecting me to play some jams and do some music. And then we only got to play like 3 songs before there was a dude in my face with a bullhorn yelling, get off the stage, we're closing down. And, like it got shut down in a chaotic type of way. And it was just kind of dramatic. And I'm not into drama or anything, but it was just like, no, we want to play. And they're like, let them play. It was just like kind of a metal day, you know what I mean? And it's like, well, damn. The first one's down, and so it's only uphill from here. It can't get any worse, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think I've had worse, 1 or 2 worse. But, for the most part, I've had pretty good shows. I think improvement every time is what I've looked for, and I think that's what I've achieved. I'm nowhere near some of the dudes in these bands that are singing that should be, headlining shows and stuff. Some of these guys around here are pretty brutal with their vocals, and I like that too. But I think I'm doing good things. I think I've got a lot of range, and I've been doing some practicing and stuff like that. My vocal ranges have changed and stuff. So it's a good things. Just practice makes good things happen.
Yes, sir. Practice makes perfect. I like that. Let's see right here. This one says, what are your biggest strengths as a singer, and what are you working to improve? I know you said that you got a lot of vocal range, and since you've just started, but a lot of the things that you have been working on. And this question also good to whoever's watching and wants to become a vocalist. What are some advice that you can give them? So damn, that's a damn good question.
Yeah, range is really neat once you start getting there. Like at first, there's like whenever you first start trying to do this stuff, there's a limitation. Whenever you get up there, and after about 7 minutes, you're like, I got about 40 more minutes of this. What am I gonna do?
Yeah.
And you're not quite there. Like I mean, there's like an athlete. I was talking to my friend the other day. I was like, you do actually have to perform things. I do. It's to keep my voice from being, I went to practice last night and we screamed for a couple hours or whatever. And when you scream for 2+ hours a week, I'm not going to say I do it the whole time we're at practice, but at least for 2 hours. That's taxing. That's like doing shows. So to me, I have a little regiment, and I drink whenever I go to sing. I warm like either a green tea or a coffee or something like that. And while I'm singing, especially if it's going to be brutal vocals and stuff like that, like like not saying they're good, they are brutal.
Yeah.
They might hurt your ears and scare your children. So I think that's what metal's about, right? Like, but no, like I think consistency. Work on being consistent at what you do. You know what I mean? And practice that. Practice being on time. Practice being a good performer. Like coming out of your shell and not like hanging back and trying to like I don't know, like interact with the crowd. The crowd wants you to interact with them. As silly it is the little hey things and the little, raise your horns in the air. It is an interaction and it is like even if you're not looking at anybody in that crowd, you stop and point at somebody. You keep looking, and you know what I mean. And that's an interaction which they acquire. And maybe I don't know what it's like for whenever you're up there singing, but a lot of times for me, it's a blur of what's going on.
Yeah. So I can tell you actually. So the few times that I have been up there, I'm looking around, and it's not like a blur. It's like I see everything that's going on. The one thing, but it's like I see everything, but it's like I feel like I'm an autopilot, because it's like I'm thinking while I'm singing, and when I'm doing it, I'm like, am I red? So the questions are, is like, am I red? Do I look like I'm nervous? Is it? It's like, do I look like I have stage fright? Is it this? Is it that? And so
the inner dialogue.
Yeah, and so
absolutely, bro.
Yeah, and so when I'm like
self-adjustment on the fly.
Yeah, and so when I'm saying this stuff, so it's like it's where the whole mask came in. It's like, all right, I wanted to create the stage performance, like not stage performance. Well, that shout out to O'Neal for this one.
Oh yeah, I like O'Neal.
So
his persona too.
This is what he told me. He's like, listen, man. He's like, people will see you out there, and they're like, hey, man, you're that dude with the mask. He's like, yeah. He's like, yeah, I am. And he's all like, man, you're this and that. And he's like, how he words it is like, the only things you ask people is what do you remember about that show? The guy in the mask.
That's true.
That's the one thing. So it's like,
right.
So here lately, when I'm performing or that's practice or stuff, I take my mask with me because it's like I got used to wearing it. B, it's one of those things where it's like it helps. And but yeah, that's really I'm too stiff, so I feel like the mask helps me loosen up a little bit.
I understand that.
Yeah. So that's where you say that like I don't. It's not a blur. I see everything's going on, but it's like inner monologue up here is like
like a blur, like as in like everything's blurry.
Yeah.
It's not like whenever if I make eye contact with you, my mind is not making eye contact with you.
Yeah.
My eyes are, but my mind is concentrating on what I'm doing.
Yes.
My presence of not tripping and busting my ass or what I'm doing because I'm a pretty mobile 250-pound man. I try to get out there and get the crowd stirred up a little bit. And so my performance is based on I see things that people do. And I'm like, I like it when that guy does that. So I'm like, well, shit, why don't I try some of that? Or why don't I, evolve on that? It's just like coming down in the audience. And like the first thing whenever I was talking tonight, I said, okay, I'll say yes to coming back next week, but I've got to have a wireless mic. And it was like, well, that's all you need? I'm like, that's all I need. I don't want any cables. I don't want anything in my way. I don't want to trip you. I don't want to trip me. I don't want to choke nobody.
Yeah.
But a wireless. And it was like, well, you can just put it on the mic stand. And, I was like, no, I'll go out in the crowd and mosh pit. And he was like, all right, dude, so we're going to get it. And ended up buying what I wanted. And I like what I've got. I've got a Shure wireless, and it's good for what I use, man. I'm a simple dude. It's all me up there. There's no, vocal processing or anything like that. So, now I want to work with a vocal processor, so I think that'd be cool too. And some of my side projects and some stuff like that. But yeah, man, consistency is one of the things that I just harp on. Just being on time, being there, being present, practice. Even if it's not a good practice, learn from it. You know what I mean? Like consistently build on like what did I do yesterday that was wrong? Okay, I'll step up and do that. And take mental notes because like you're saying, you do have that dialogue whenever you're singing to somebody like, right there, I could have made that better.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And actually, if you start making those middle notes, it does actually start to form that. Once you start, it's not like it's a mind-eye-to-eye coordination or something like that. Let's talk about that. But
Yeah.
it's a thought process, like you're saying, without being you're in cruise control.
Yeah. At least that's how I think of it as. Yeah. It's just cruise control, getting down, just doing it. But I mean, I started windmilling.
Oh yeah.
So it's one of those things. It's like
that's gonna hurt somebody if I do that. So
yeah. Well, it's like
me.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
I started windmilling because for me it's like, all right, when there's breaks where I'm not singing, it's like, okay, I can windmill, I can stop what's going on up here for just a second if I windmill, and then it doesn't make me look super stiff because I'm still in that early stages where I'm like stiff, just standing there, headbang, and then stop, look around, and headbang, make sure I hit the right cue at the right moment. But I mean, man, now I'm having fun. I do get up there and have fun. I can't wait when we play a show as BCPD. I can't wait for that because I'm excited for that one.
When's that scheduled? What is the tentative date of maybe a show?
I had this idea for my birthday, my birthday is May 11th.
Okay.
I share my birthday with Mother's Day almost every year.
Your mom?
I call mom. Hopefully she.
I love moms.
Shout out to mom. I don't know if you're watching, but I'd love for her to. Shout out to all moms. I'd love for my mom to come down from San Angelo and spend the day with us. Shout out to my wife in there. She's
a mom.
That's my mom.
Shout out to my mom. I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, shout out to my mom. My wife. They say she's the mother of my child, so it's like not only does she got to put up with me, she got to put up with my seed as well. So, and she's just like me, hyperactive and everything like that. And, I wanted to do. We don't really have anywhere to do it, but I wanted to do like a BCPD impromptu show. Kind of. We have 5 songs right now.
Okay.
As a we are, but like one is that we're still working, and like honestly, I'll tell you, we have 2 secrets. Well, 1 secret song. It's not really a secret. It's kind of a secret, but so we got Cannibal Party, which is the one that is original. We got another original called Bloodbound Affection. And then we cover Black Flag's Fix Me.
Okay.
And then we got Pacos Chingasos. And that's
Chingasos.
Yeah, and so that 30-second jingle has made its way into our set list because it's like it's a great it's one of those things where it's like
good, man. Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's I see it as it's a great crowd reaction. It's like It's like this song's a theme song to a fun little podcast. If you don't know, you won't know. Go check out Pacos Chingasos, and then we do the song.
Yeah, and then song too. Man.
Yeah, and so then we got our last song, which is I'm gonna say it. We're covering "Shimmy Shimmy Up" by Old Dirty Bastard.
Shout out Wu-Tang.
Yeah, shout out Wu-Tang, one of my favorite rap groups of all time. I'm a big East Side rapper. Like New York, anything New York, and we do have Rob Montoya. He says, "Pa-chewy chump."
Pa-chewy chump.
Pa-chewy chump.
Was he talking about Chumbawamba?
I guess so.
It looks like Chumbawamba sounds.
Well, yes, sir.
What's up, Rob?
Yep. But for us, I'm not sure. I would like to do that birthday, but I mean, I don't know shit about booking shows, and I don't know how to get it going and stuff. But it's one of those things where it's like, even if it's like we do like an open mic sesh at like a house party or some shit like that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Anything like that. But like as of right now.
Yeah. The tentative date would be May.
Yeah, the tentative date hopefully is May, but I mean, if we're not ready until later on in the year, man, I'm not tripping about it. I get to have fun. And then that's actually interesting. We got 2 Robs in the chat.
Uh-oh.
So we got G-Son, which is Rob Qualls, and then we got Rob Montoya.
Rob Montoya. Yeah. I'll give him the other 2 pieces.
Yeah. He said my bad. He said me bad.
Me bad.
That guy. But anyway, let me see. Let me get back onto here. All right. So that's a good question too. So it says, what do you hope to achieve with your music, and what message do you want to convey through your performances?
Well, What do I hope to achieve? I don't know that I had any achievement goals. I want to be good at what I do. I want to bring people up around me.
Yes, sir.
As for, I just want to play shows, man. I really enjoy that. That's my goal, and really to make it a self-sustaining hobby. Like I'm not saying I'm trying to go make a mill or whatever. I mean, that'd be cool too. But I just want a self-sustainable hobby where I can go jam with my band, maybe go on a little tourcation or something like that, and play music and it's self-sustaining. You pay for your gas, pay for your merch, pay for whatever you need, sticks, drums.
Yeah.
Uh, that would be, I guess, my ultimate goal to have my hobbies paid for. Um, I want to also grow the scene. So however I can do to help that, whether it be playing in a band or doing electrical work or
Yeah.
mopping floors or like being a security guy, whatever I need to do, helping out with the pit, do whatever. I'm in to grow this scene, and the people around here are really receptive. We've got a real good thing going on, and we just want to keep that momentum, bro. So uh, go kick ass and take names is what I'm here to do.
Hell yeah, man. Honestly, that was a good answer. And it was a good question. So this one was a question that guy that came into my head. He said that you're here to help grow the scene.
Yeah.
So I've seen actually it shows I've seen you do security. I've seen you do mop, like help mop and clean up and stuff like that. It's like if somebody were to want to get in and help do stuff like that, how would they get in and help do that? This
Just
kind
go
of
volunteer. Really, I mean, like, just show up and be a good dude. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like the whole pit etiquette type thing. Don't be like crowd killing and hitting kids in the face and doing chicken shit.
Yeah.
But be respectful. And if you want to, like Anthony says, respect violently. Violence respectfully. And like, if you steal something, pick it up. You know what I mean? So that's how you get involved with that. And I'm friends with all the people that are trying to do this and trying to make the scene go. Like I said, I'm in the upper echelon of age group.
Yeah.
I'm not as old as some people, but I'm not young either. And so it's kind of more of a mentorship. And this is, I don't have money to give back to any kind of community or anything like that. But,
Yeah.
And this isn't a community center, but it is community work and working with the music community and bringing people together from different places and networking and talking to people. That's a goal for the Amarillo, and that's why I said I want to be a part of this scene and grow this scene to its full potential, because there's a lot of talent here, man. There's a lot of potential.
Oh yeah, there is. I honestly, man, I can't wait to see more and more pop up. It'd be nice to like just open up a venue and stuff like that.
Sure.
Like having a venue just for that, just for like shows and people to come get together and
Right.
stuff. I'm all for it as well. That's why I do. So one of my favorite things as doing my solo podcast is live on locations. I try to do it more for the three amigos, but
Right.
sometimes it's one of those things where it's like I tell my brothers over there, I'm like, hey man, we got this. There's this event coming up. Let's try to get in, do a live, and do this and do that. Sometimes it's easier said than done.
Sure.
So there's a lot of times where like I don't say it very much anymore in the Three Amigos because by the time the Three Amigos is over, I'm already laughing or singing or we're doing something funny.
Right.
But I used to say like when there's a show, one of us will be out there, and most of the time one of us is out there. And like shout out to Chris because Chris and I are really the two that go out there and do the shows. We understand that Joe's got other shit going on, so
it's hard to make it to all the shows too.
Oh, yeah.
I understand that, and
yes, sir.
in this town, money's stretched tight a lot of times. I understand that 100%. So you just all the support you can, and know that you're a part of something that's growing, and continue to just do good things. Help, you know what I mean? Like whenever you go volunteer, like at the end of the night, if you're seen picking up trash at the venue or something like that, they may recognize you and be like, hey, here, I'll give you $5 off, or I'll buy you a drink, or what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's community to me, like one of my favorite stories about this last year is so the Atomic Yellow, they were trying to give it a go over on Arthur Street, and it was a nice old building with a safe and everything. And I helped Tony with security. I helped, with the electrical work. We built the stage. I mean, Jarrett was involved with all that stuff, and it was a DIY all the way. And we had to kick a guy out one night. So he was a large fellow, bowling ball, SOB that was spilling beer. He tried to kind of kiss Tony and tried to take a swing at him. And so Tony was like, hey, this guy's got to go. So fair enough. That's the only guy that I remember really having. There may be a couple other scuffles or something that had to be taken care of. But really, for the most part, it was him. And
Yeah.
we kicked him out. We got him out. I didn't see him for a long time. And so I'd gone back to the Atomic Yellow to see a show, and unbeknownst to me, that same guy we kicked out was jamming out at the Bomb City Bar Fights the week before, and we played that at the first of this year. Well, we made friends because we covered a Brujeria song, and he loves Brujeria. I mean, he had a rag, bro, that was Brujeria hanging out of his pocket. So he was jamming and getting down, and he kind of, I guess, got me and Jared confused or something like that, because he thought Jared was the one that kicked him out, and it was me. And so we made friends at the next show at the Atomic Yellow, and the dude was like, oh, I remember you. Y'all kicked you and him kicked me out last time over there. And I'm like, yeah. And he was like, I'm sorry. He apologized. He was a cool dude. He was chill. And I said, so, yeah, man, I appreciate your apology, but at the end of the night, bro, we got, if you're really sorry, you're going to help do something here tonight.
Yeah.
Well, homies helped out picking up beer cans and throwing trash away at the end of the night. So that's doing stuff like that. That's cool stuff to me. Like, all right, we kicked you out, but come back in and be nice and help us out, and we'll still be welcome. You get multiple chances, and I know people get dumb. Alcohol does dumb stuff to certain people sometimes.
Yeah, I'm one of them.
Sure, everybody was. I was a big time victim of my own self, one's own self.
Actually, my partner in crime, who I get in trouble with, and we get to drinking together, is actually in the comments. What's up, Jake? Thank you for watching, brother.
Hey, Jake.
Hit you up here in a little bit. Actually know the guy you're talking about as well. When you get a chance, this is on the question: do you collect action figures at all? Do you like anything like that, or anything from your childhood?
No, nothing from my childhood. Like, I was in sports and outdoor shit. And then music, bro. That's like I collect band shirts. I've got 3 closets full of black shirts that have different logos on them from the bands that I've seen. So, but so
that dude I was telling you about, though, him and my buddy Ish actually run a booth that sells toys in the flea market. Yeah. So like I said, I know who the dude you're talking about. He's a good friend of mine as well. I see him all the time when I go out there, and we sit there and shoot the shit and just talk. So he's a great dude, man. Just like you said, alcohol makes you do your own things.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. I'm not saying don't. I'm just saying I don't.
Yeah. But you're talking about the Atomic Yellow. You also shot a music video out there, or you were a part of a music video out there.
I was involved a little bit. So they wanted our band to play, and we were going through a little transition. I think we were going through a drummer change or something happened. So we weren't available. Everybody couldn't play. So they were shooting a video there, and I texted George. I was like, man, I'd kill to be in that video, bro. Like, how do I get in? And he was like, you want to be the killer? And I was like, well, sure. Heck yeah. Like, in my mind, I've got some kind of Scooby-Doo chase scene in there or something like that. Like some goofy, corny, like, I don't know. I really didn't know what to expect going into that video shoot. And Ryan, shout out to Ryan Hatfield. Ryan, he's an amazing choreographer, I don't know the word for it. Scenographer or whatever. I'm bad with that. But no, his videos that he shoots and his movies and stuff like that is really quality. And this was way above my level of any participation of acting, because I'm not going to do drama if I don't want to go sing choir, right? So I don't want to do any of that shit, bro. I'm not an actor. I don't want to be in front of people.
Yeah.
So when he offered it, I just thought I'd be standing in the background and kind of lurking like some Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees figure, like creepy in the background, not the inclusive role that I was attached to whenever I got there. Now, that being said, that's an amazing video. I think it's pretty damn cool.
Oh, dude, it's one of my favorites. You know,
Yeah.
I'm a big death metal dude, so
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
one of those things, man. It's one of my my top two favorite death metal bands, and actually top three. My top three death metal bands are Cannibal Corpse, Death Clock, and Obituary.
Okay.
You know, those are my
Obituaries on the top.
Yeah, so those are that's my top three. Yes, sir. So that's my top three death metal. You know, there's a bunch of death metal bands out there, and shit looks like those dudes over there in Horde, like I do. You know, those are my homies. They're great. Yeah, you know, I like their songs. I like their songs. Their songs are, they're in my workout.
It's all, man. You go check it out. It's a good video.
It's a great video, right?
Yeah, great. I'll give you that. It is a great video. Like everybody involved was great. Reagan was great. The whole crowd was great. The environment was great. That whole night was a fun time.
Oh yeah. You want to be a part of another one?
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. I didn't know what to expect. Like I said, and I guess you kind of really can't be expecting every time, knowing what you're doing every time to go into it. But yeah, man, I like doing that. I think that it's opened something up for me. This has been a personal, like, not a soul searching thing, but a personal goal, trying to put myself in uncomfortable situations so that whenever uncomfortable situations arrive, I'm more prepared.
I got you.
At some points in times in my life, I haven't prepared myself properly, and that was my fault. So that's why I started doing things outside of my comfort zone. Like, it really kind of started with hanging out with the homies and rock band was kind of cool at one point in time. And I wouldn't play, bro. I don't play video games. I really don't watch TV, but at least they were listening to music, so I was hanging out and jamming. And they're like, come on, you got to sing at least one time. You know the song, like Albatross or some shit like that.
Yeah.
I love Cruising to Conformity, man. I love that Southern Sludge and all those bands down there, bro. I could go on for days about that shit.
Oh, yeah.
But they were playing on Expert, and there's a pitch level and all that shit. You got to keep it in between and all that. And I got a 73 on Expert the first time I ever tried it. So,
fuck yeah.
It sparked something in me that day. I was like, well, maybe there's something more to this. Like, maybe I could go karaoke and it wouldn't be that big a deal. Like, nobody's going to be there anyway. Who cares if Justin Fennell goes and sings Albatross or, if I can mumble like Eddie Vedder, I'd go up there and get some karaoke and not feel so bad. But and then it just kind of like didn't snowball from there. Like I've done karaoke a couple times. It was a lot of fun. I did different genres. I never did metal. And like 2 months later, I'm on stage at my first show. So it was a learning curve that took off very steeply, almost like a roller coaster for me. So I wouldn't have it any other way.
I like it, man. Honestly, it's one of those things like I like it. It's. I actually went through all those questions already. We're sitting at an hour. I normally run my podcast about an hour and a half.
Okay.
So we're sitting at an hour and 3 minutes. If anybody in the comments has questions for Mr. Fennell here, man, he's ready to answer them.
I'm Mr. Fennell.
Mr. Fennell.
Put that L on there. A lot of people call me funnel, but I guess I could be a funnel too.
Right. It's like
my whole life.
It's like he's got advice if you need advice, I guess.
Oh yeah, I'm the wise old singer.
The wise old singer. Yeah. So you're talking about the music video "Death Awaits Us All." I had this idea. So my buddy Rob, shouts Rob, you're still in the comments.
We see you.
Yeah, we see you. I called him. So me and him became good friends within hell, man, we're brothers. We became brothers in a year, man. That's what I see. It's like I shout out to that dude. He I call him my my advisor.
Okay.
So every time I
have some good ideas, man.
Oh yeah. Every time
stuff is real creative.
I go with him, like we'll sit down and I was like, man, I got this idea. So our song Cannibal Party, we're real close to finishing that. We put it out as a single, but Cannon Park had this idea where it's like it's for a music video. It's a bunch of it's us sitting around this dinner table, and then I was kind of wanting to get some homies to come sit with us, and then they bring in this fucking body, and yeah, we just fucking like the whole video is just fucking ripping skin off and blood packs everywhere. There's gonna be a random scene of Rob. He's got like a big plate of fucking vegetables around him. And then
that's the scariest thing in the whole video.
Yeah, you know, but like just a quick
I love you, Rob.
Quick shot of Rob. He's got blood dripping from his mouth. They're like just look at him. He's looking at camera. There's a big ass plate of vegetables.
And bell peppers and carrots and celery.
Yeah, and so then
bloody celery.
Yeah, and so then after that, it's he gets after that camera pans game, but it's like all the homies fucking ripping off bloody parts and shit. And then, I don't know, I thought it'd be cool. I was like, man, that's funny. Like, not only is it funny,
wow, bro. I'd like to see it. We gotta draw it up in a brainstorm, bro.
Right.
Figure out who's gonna eat what parts.
Yeah. Originally it was just gonna do like at the end it's just me holding the brains and probably just blood everywhere, but you know it's cool. That's right. You know, this is why I turned to my buddy here because you know I'm like, hey man, I got this idea. What do you think? You know, and so we go from there, man.
Well, it's good to have somebody to ping ideas off of. That helps me be creative too. It's like trying to write songs, just write on a notepad.
Yeah,
bro. What? Like, I'm not a poet, and I know it. So that being said, there has to be a semblance of something that I can listen to and groove to and stuff like that. And it's usually the rhythm guitar, like the riff, and the drum. And the kick and snare is important to me, and that placement. That's I feel like I'm a percussive singer in some aspects, and so I'm more on the drummer. Like that's my cadence rather than trying to cater to the guitars or whatever, or however some people do that. I don't know. Like I said, I'm new to all this and I'm learning as I go. Like I'm definitely a DIY dad metal band vocalist.
Hell yeah,
do it myself, man.
DIY dad metal. And actually, there is a comment now or a question now in the comments. So Rob wants to know your biggest vocal influence.
Ooh.
And then I'm sorry. My buddy Jake says shotgun a beer, and none of us are drinking beer, so sorry, buddy.
Well, I'll sip a coffee. I'll have some more coffee.
Yeah, he'll sip the coffee.
My bad, bro.
I'm gonna drink this tea.
Well, here, shout out. Cheers, coffee.
Yep. I'm gonna get my tea real quick.
And I mean sip because it's still hot.
Yeah.
So back to the
question now.
Vocalist. Well, like you said, I was before I was knew this question. I was gonna ask you Barnes or Corpse Grinder, because you said you like Cannibal Corpse. Well, okay, so I'm gonna have to say that I love Chris Barnes, and I kind of made fun of that dude because I couldn't do that whenever I was little. And I was just like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Because he was really doing that shit.
Oh yeah.
He's a bad dude. And I like 6 Feet Under too. The first couple albums was pretty tight, bro. So that dude, there's a lot of influence from there. I really like old Cavalier Conspiracy. I mean, like Max Galler Sepultura stuff. Like they were more of a death metal band in 1991 instead of what it's evolved into now. And I still love Max and all that stuff. Like I've got to meet those dudes and Igor and they're back together, and that's really cool too. The original Sepultura killed, bro. And then like Napalm Death, Barney Greenway, man, like there was a lot of his influence. I liked that. That he doesn't fit the metal necessarily protocol of what a metal singer should have. You know, I don't have any tattoos, nothing on my neck, like a microphone on my vocal cords or whatever. There's none of that with me. No piercings, nothing. And I do have facial hair, but it just grows there. So
you don't have no tattoos?
I have 0 tattoos, 0 piercings. I've had 2 piercings in my life, and my dad reinstated that those aren't in there until I leave at 18. And after that, I just hadn't had any interest in it after he took them out that way.
Right.
I understand. Yeah. So no, my thing was kind of just like me. I like me. I don't need no tattoos or anything like that. I think I'm a good dude.
Mhm.
And if people don't like me,
Fuck 'em.
yeah, and I think that that's kind of apprehensive in itself because, some people are like, you really don't have tattoos? And I'm like, no, not one, man. And I like being the weirdo.
Honestly, man, it's
it's
one of those things where it's like
that's who I am. It's not that I'm trying to be that. It's just
Yeah.
me, bro.
It's like you and my buddy Jake are the only two guys I know that don't have tattoos.
Right.
And it's to me, man, it's like it's interesting to see because it's like tattoos being part of like today's normal society. It's like
Yeah.
back in the day, it was hard to get a job if you had tattoos all over your arms and stuff. And now like meeting someone who doesn't have one, it's like damn, like it's like you
How do
really
you live without a tattoo?
Yeah.
Well, just like you do. It's just
just everyday life, man.
eat cheese and stuff like that.
For me, man,
Drink coffee.
for me, I've always none of my tattoos have. Well, actually, I'm lying to you. Some do. I've gotten, I think 7.
7?
I think 7. It's either 7 or 9.
Right.
It's between 7 or 9. So a few of them are what mean to me. Like I got Cowboys from Hell right here.
Absolutely.
I'm from Texas. I love Pantera. That's me.
Those just live in infamy in my heart, man.
Oh,
Definitely. I'll have to also, and that influence feels, of course, anybody that grew up in my era and stuff like that, that tattoo right there means a lot to people that are from this area.
Oh, yes, sir.
So, yeah,
And so,
that's understood.
And so, another one that means a lot to me is this one right here is this is the pendulum and the clock,
Okay.
and it's the death clock. So,
Awesome.
I
like Death Clock.
my teenage years, man, Metalocalypse and Death Clock that was it. That's really all I listened to in my teenage years was Death Clock, and then I'd go watch Metalocalypse at night and Adult Swim. I loved it. Loved Metalocalypse. The shit that they did. And everybody dying in the episode, fucking funny. It was great. I loved it. It's a great cartoon. And so, like some of the tattoos that I do have, they do have meaning, and some just was always fucked up one night. It's like, hey, that's cool.
Right.
But at the end of the day, when you do meet someone who doesn't have tattoos, man, it's like that's weird and interesting, and I want to know why. And you tell me that, like, it's like, man, I like me for me, and it's great. There's always a story. There's always a story to everything behind it.
So I don't know, I'm not Jewish or anything like that, but I'm a frugal person also. And I can put that $700 that I'm gonna put on my skin into something else that's more valuable. I buy a gun before I buy a tattoo.
Right.
And I don't have a whole lot of guns or anything like that. It was just, there's something that I want to, like, if I'm gonna invest my money in something, I want it to appreciate. So I'm gonna have to look at my back. Then I can't see my tattoo, it's a cool piece that everybody tells me it's cool.
Yeah.
So, and not that that's anything, like, that's just me, bro. I don't want to pay for something I can't see.
Yeah.
And then, like, okay, so when tattoos kind of started popping, like, I wasn't in the military, so I respect those dudes that were getting them whenever that meant something to them.
Yeah.
You may have come from prison and had a couple of prison tattoos, but then it started being trendy with these armbands and the barbed wire, and so there was peer pressure. Like, ooh, are you gonna get an armband tattoo? Or are you gonna? I'm like, I don't. You're not gonna peer pressure me into nothing.
Yeah.
So, no armbands, no barbed wire, no Kyle tattoos anywhere on this body. And that was part of that reasoning why I was like, no, these people getting tattoos are getting the same looking things. And what the fuck kind of tribe is Kyle in?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And cool. I mean, I'm not knocking tattoos. I'm just it wasn't for me.
No, right?
And so I just stayed that way. Like, I like the chalky white, milky white me.
Yeah. That's, to me, man, like I said, it's interesting to see, especially in today's world, It's like, I respect you for it, you do you and you do what you like. That's, to me, fuck, man, that's the only reason why I started this solo podcast is I get to interview my friends and,
Heck yeah, man.
like just go from there, So to me, that's cool. I like, there's something about you that I learned and I'm like, oh, dude, that's fucking cool. Like,
right.
He doesn't have tattoos. That's great.
Yeah.
You don't need to have tattoos to be who you are.
Yeah.
To me, man, like I said though, all my tattoos are just either stuff that I like, or one was a drunk decision.
Right.
But I mean, I look at it and I'm all like, oh yeah, that was my 22nd birthday. I remember exactly what happened, you know. So
Right.
I'm not knocking you for it. I think it's awesome.
That's too low. Better call him back.
Yeah. So I've actually become kind of frugal myself. There's a lot of things like, so when I moved into here, I got the chance to save money, but I've also had the chance to kind of like, bringing this podcast back was one of those decisions. It was like, well, I could go buy a new welder. You know, I can get back out there and keep doing what I like, or I'm gonna get this laptop, and this laptop will help me do this, and this. So it was like, I could do this, or I could do that. I could do this, do that. So I get it. I'm starting to try to be better at it. And then
you're doing all right. And let me put it to you this way: the first time I was on the podcast was the first time you guys had me on there. So
yes, sir.
You know, like I said, I'm a guy in a cave over there that people don't even bother with. They're like, just leave it over there and it'll be fine. It doesn't bite people or anything. So
yeah,
you know, and I don't have any technology. I don't have Wi-Fi at my house. I've got unlimited data on my phone. That's the only thing I use. And I watch YouTube videos or read.
Yeah.
And I'm really not at home that much to do that. And if I am at home, like I've got a jam spot there at the house, so that's where Quick Death in Texas plays. So it practices right now. And shout out to Charlie and shout out to Caleb and shout out most of all to Zach for putting that stuff together. And we're getting down and we're getting some tight stuff. And I can't wait to see what the future holds with those guys, because man, that's a whole nother beast that's fixing to just be unleashed on this scene, and y'all don't even know yet. Like,
dude, I'm excited for it.
I'm excited for it too.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
I'm excited for the future, man. I'm excited for the future of Dyscarcia. Like I said, I'm excited to see Bomb City Pod Driver. There's things that are popping off in this town that are really exciting, man. The venues, trying to get them to work together, trying to, get everybody on the same page of, doing that. We want to. I was talking the other day to my good buddy Steve-O out of, Krungus.
Yep.
We're talking about how to put the networking together. Like, we've got pieces of the way to network, but there's a puzzle there that we're not figuring out how to network right. And once we figure out that puzzle, man, it's going to come together. So, just learning how to reach an audience. Like, the last couple of shows that I go to most of the shows around here, and I see the different crowds and different things. Like, we played 420 Fest for the first time. Completely not our crowd, bro.
Yeah.
Completely, different. They were more hip hop crowd, but I think we obtained fans. We had people banging their heads and singing along, and so I like the diversity of all that. I just want to be able to try and coordinate it where everybody can make money and get their piece of the pie, and come out on top. And that's what growing the scene is. That's what getting people out to the shows is. That's what reaching people is. That's why I come here to do this podcast, because hopefully I can talk to one or two more people and tell them about your band, Bomb City Pod Driver, or my band, Dyscarcia, or tell them about my homeboys and Corrosive Wrath. We got to get that word out there somehow that there's good things popping off in Amarillo. Shout out to Trench Rat and the moves that they've made, bro. They're power players, bro. They're a really good band. I like that lineup, man. Adam Braden and then Trey Bag. I mean, Trey's a monster in my opinion on everything that he ever does. So,
yeah, I've had a good relationship with Trey for years, man. I went to school with Trey for. Yeah,
that's cool, man.
Yeah, I think we both graduated in 2012 together, same, at Tascosa. But the reason why I don't know if I ever told you this story, but the reason why my nickname is Paco is because of the Klaus boys.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we a while back. This was a long time ago. This was we've told this story plenty of times on Three Amigos, but we were going to go get some weed. We were gonna go get stoned, and they kept asking me, man. They're like, "Hey, man, yeah." And so they kept asking me, they're like, "Hey, man, what's your name? What's your name?" And I'll be like, "I'm Darren. I'm Darren." Just kept saying my name. And they're like, man, we're never going to remember that. But like, you're Paco from here on out. And I was like, okay. And so then, I tell people that thanks to my homies, Klaus and stuff. And then Kitchen, I met Kitchen. I call him Kitchen. He tells people I'm the only person that call him Kitchen.
Okay.
I call Kitchen at Sam's Club. We were pushing carts and shit like that,
I know that young man for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen him go up in the stage. He was doing this way before I was, man.
Oh yes, sir.
So I like to collaborate with that cat because he's the only one I've ever really collaborated with. He hops up on stage when we do Your Mom, and he sings the second chorus a lot with us.
Oh fuck yeah.
And that meant a lot to me. Like the first time he asked, I was like, "Really? Like you really want to sing this song?" He was like, "Dude, I grew up listening to Dyscarcia," and I was like, "Oh, sure." Like,
Yeah, you want to get up here.
the dude from Church Rats wanting to sing with me, you know. And I mean, I watched, like I said, I watched some Basalt Zombies and other things like that.
Yeah.
I love that dude to death. He's a good guy. He's a hell of a fucking front man too. Like I said, power players over there, man. They're taking strides, and hopefully, I can't wait to see what they're doing.
Oh yeah, man. I'm excited to see what they got to bring.
Awesome.
You know, I can't wait to see some new stuff come out.
Bro,
yeah,
dudes are jamming too.
Shout out to my brother Jeremy.
I love Jeremy, man. I love Jerry. I love Kirby.
And Kirby, yeah.
Kirby's mom the most, always. But man, that cat's really come along. Love Stephen Hodges. He was the first bassist I ever worked with. I only worked with 2 bassists in a band. I worked with Brandon a little bit on a Quick Death in Texas, but our schedules just didn't work out.
Shout out to B-Man,
Berserk, Braden.
Well, yeah, you'll be seeing him tomorrow.
This
podcast.
I'll see you fellas tomorrow.
You know,
the honorary.
You know, we got 10 minutes left, so I'll say this. We've been doing the Three Amigos for almost 3 years now, and this is the first time that this is the first time that we've had a request for an honorary amigo.
And so honored. I don't know what I do, but people seem to enjoy my presence.
Oh yeah, I mean, you showed up at the Odd Rot one.
Yeah.
And you know, I was like, all right, if he's here, I'm gonna step away. I'm gonna be, you know, I got to me, one of the coolest things was I got to see it from another point of view, where that's not on me, you know. So I didn't have to make an ass out of myself and say shit that's funny or that I think is funny, you know. Everyone laughs, so I mean, you know,
takes you away and gives you a chance to be creative without having to be in the limelight and creative.
Yes, sir.
I understand that.
And so, you know, I enjoyed that and stuff, and like, you know, it's one of those things where like I don't know if Chris is gonna be there tomorrow or not, so I might be sitting with you. You know, with things going on with him, I'm not gonna bring that up on my solo stuff. We'll talk about it on Three Amigos, but man, I'm excited. Like I do, having someone request an honorary amigo is cool to me because this is the first season that we were like, well, fuck it, let's try it. Let's see if we can't get someone to come in when one of us isn't gonna be here.
Right.
And so, yeah,
honorary. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Whenever I seen that at the first, I was like, that would be cool to do. But like, I think Steve-O came and did a sesh first, and that was the first one that y'all needed an honorary. And I was like, man, my schedule didn't line up with what was going on. I can't remember what we were doing, but what we had to do or whatever. But I was like, that's cool. I'm surprised Steve-O went on there, but he's trying to grow his skills too, and pump Crungus because they're so sick.
Yeah,
all of them dudes are so sick.
Having them on the podcast was great. They were cool, you know, they were cool. But it was cool having Steve-O because it was actually the Horde Demise podcast. Yeah. And so having Steve-O be the honorary amigo, funny thing that he told me right off, he's like, listen, man, I'm not gonna say much. He's like, I'm gonna leave it all to you. And I was like, no, dude, you have to say something. If you're on the
podcast, wouldn't you think you've got to talk? That's
what it's
about, right? Conversation.
Yeah. And so he's like, this is what I'm gonna do. He's like, I'm gonna lean over to you and go, hey, will you ask him to ask him? And so
so that's what that's
where that joke started.
That's cool.
Yeah. And so Steve-O just kept doing that, but he did it on the microphone. He's like, hey, Paco, will you, you know? So I was like, all right.
I like that.
Yeah.
It was fun.
I
had a good time, man. Like I said, I've never done this before, and so the first time we did it was whenever I showed up, and we had a good time.
Honestly, man, I've never laughed so hard because of you guys. You guys had me rolling on that one, and I'm upset that episode's gone because, you know, Facebook does what it does, and this is why every time I've done a podcast solo, you find all my stuff on YouTube. Everything that's mine is on YouTube.
I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. I had fun. I got the memories of it, and it don't make shit.
Oh yeah.
I wish people could go back and see it. I don't even know how funny it was. People tell me it's funny. I don't know. I say off the cusp shit sometimes, and it's like I should shut up more.
No, man, y'all came in and we just, you know, y'all came in and we laughed the entire. You know, we all had a good time. Yeah. It was funny because one of the things was like we're shout out to Rob Montoya. we were talking about. He's like, yeah, he was on the podcast interviewing. You know, we're interviewing him, and he's watching the podcast while he's doing the podcast.
Y'all are doing pretty good. Love you, Rob. I don't know if he's still on there or not. But
The last thing he said earlier, he's having some internet problems, but he says he's trying to get back on. So we do have 6 minutes left. So I'm asking.
So you still haven't answered the question, Barnes or Corpse Grinder?
Oh, dude. I'm sorry. So I love Tomb of the Mutilated.
Yeah, okay.
But I'm a Corpse Grinder dude.
Okay.
So Corpse Grinder, man, I actually got to meet Corpse Grinder.
Yeah, man, he's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a good dude, man. But it's just it's like the first time I met you, man. They're like, hey, you should go ask him about being on their podcast. You know, you're just this big, tall dude. I'm a short dude. He's pretty intimidating. Yeah. And so when we met Corpse Grinder,
excellent, that big.
yeah. So when we met Corpse Grinder, he was up like, this is at Mayhem Fest. This is my first Mayhem Fest. And I got to see that headline was Manson and Slayer.
Yeah.
But it was Killswitch Engage opening up for Slayer, and then Bullet for My Valentine opened up for Killswitch. Awesome. I was a big fan of Bullet at the time and Killswitch.
Yeah. Killswitch is great.
Oh yeah, I love him.
Howard Jones, that era was great.
Yeah, man. He's yeah, I'll get into that. So when we walked to the Corpse Grinder, he was pissed. Like he was mad because something went wrong at the merch booth. But we waited a minute and we're like, hey man, and he's like, he turned around, he's like, oh hey guys, he's like, I hope y'all enjoy the show, this and that. We sat there, shook his hand. We didn't have anything to take pictures with him. So it's one of those that's up here that's forever burned in my mind. It's like when I got to meet Trevor from Black Dahlia Murder, same tour.
Right.
I met him through the fence, but he came over. He's like, hey man, he's like, I'm glad you guys enjoyed our set. This and that. He came and talked to us through the fence.
Right.
And so
that's cool.
It was great. So since on, man, every rock star that I've met, man, I've cherished that memory.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, when it comes down to Barnes or Corpse Grinder, I'm Corpse Grinder all the way.
Okay,
that's great.
Fair. That's a good explanation too.
His vocals inspire me.
Yeah, I think that there's a little bit of my style and his style. I'm not headbanging quite as hard as that dude is. My neck's not like that, bro. And I'm probably close to his age, if not maybe even a little older than he is. But I definitely like his energy. And I definitely like to feed off of that and watch him and see how he creates energy like that.
Oh, yeah.
To me, I mean, not necessarily that it's any wizardry craft or anything like that, but there is a craft to it.
Yeah.
And to be a good entertainer, you don't have to be a great vocalist to be a good entertainer.
Yeah.
If you're on time and there's what I try to do is I also want to leave it in the minds of people like, what's he going to do next time? What's that crazy bastard? Is he going to jump on somebody? Is he going to get in the mosh pit? Flick a joint out in the audience? Or
is he going to get into a impromptu fight with his buddy?
Yeah, that could happen too. Weird things happen at Dyscarcia shows, so that's why people show up.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck's going on today? And that's not always planned.
Yeah.
But planned. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's a thing that I've learned that keeps people wanting to come back and see more. It's like,
I wish I got to see the show where Steve-O ran up and started giving you all body shots while you're trying to sing. That'd have been.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's all like, oh shit, did you see that?
Well, it's like one of those things. Okay, so still I've done shows, but I'm still green. As opposed to like people jumping on stage or anything. And there wasn't like a jumping on stage. It was house bars. So, but it makes for a nice story. I mean, I like it. It's kind of legendary type shit. One of the baddest ass guitarists in the fucking town was using me as a punching bag while I was singing songs. And if it wasn't him, I probably would have kicked whoever it was ass. That was like, he wasn't, and he's a heavy-handed young man, even though he's not a very big man. He throws some hands, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Got some gnarly guitar knuckles and shit. So bam, like, is this really going on? I mean, it was kind of surreal to me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he gets smacked around, and he was, a weeble wobble anyway by that point, and jerked me down to the ground, and I'm like, bro, I didn't miss a beat.
Yeah.
And kept singing, and I was on time. I did, you know what I mean? And finally, I got to where it was a part of the song, and he'd come back over there, and I just gave him a couple, 3 body shots, and it really was like Mike Tyson's punch out. One of those guys, woo, woo.
Yeah.
And he crashed out. So, it made for a good story, bro. It was fun, man.
Seeing it was just See it like I said, I wish I was there to see it because I'd have been laughing. I'd have been dying the entire
I was
time.
laughing too. I mean, it's kind of like, what am I supposed to do? You know,
Yeah.
like, I mean, like I said, with anybody else, if I didn't know that person that was doing that,
It's like, oh no, you're getting beat up right
you're
now.
getting at least slammed on the ground. I'm gonna tell you to stop, bro. I'm trying to perform. Like,
Yeah.
but that's an intimate show, and I really like the intimate shows like that. I like a tight, 40 people or something like that. I think we could probably pack 22 in there or something, 25. But those little house bar shows were cool as shit.
Oh yeah.
Sorry that we didn't get to continue on that road, but
yeah, honestly, man,
intimate bar shows.
I had my fair share of fun at the house bar shows.
Yeah.
Let's see, it was Trench Rat and Corrosive. I got to see
Oh,
Horde Demise perform there. You know,
Yeah,
it's so
it's
cool.
a couple times up there.
You know, it was a great time. But we are speaking of time, we're almost out of time. So we're sitting in hour 30. So last question I'll ask you before we go out. New music, anything? Tell whoever's watching, some upcoming Dyscarcia shows and some new music or new
West
music?
Texas Entertainment Extravaganza or West Texas, whatever that is, it's going on May 4th and 5th out at Rockwell Event Center. Shout out to Rockwell Event Center. There's 2 full days of networking capabilities that people need to be a part of and need to get out there and check it out. Country bands, rappers, whoever's out there, producers, people that want to be studio guitarists, musicians, they've got anything and everything for y'all out there. We've got some shows lined up. I don't have the exact dates of certain things. I think we're playing a show with Grave Huffer and Grimescape and a couple other bands coming up in July, like 25th. Got some other things on the horizon too. We're working with some friends about bringing some bands in. I can't, mention anything about that, but there's a lot of things on the horizon. September, we've got a show booked out. So, and then I want to shout out to Quick Death in Texas too, man. We're hoping to be hitting the stage by around Halloween or something like that too. I've got 5 or 6 songs and something that's completely different and a little bit more on the deathcore side, on the early like Black Dahlia, Red Chord.
Yeah.
Shout out Zach, Charlie, and Caleb, man, and then we're fixing to put that together and pick up a bassist and kick y'all's ass with that.
So yeah. So we're excited for all that. We're also excited to see you join us tomorrow on the Three Amigos podcast. That's right. Justin Fennell. He's double duty with the podcast, man. We love it. We love having you. And
we love duty.
And so anyway, I just want to get this out there because I think it'd be great. My last question for this podcast is, what are you doing tonight? What is going on tonight in the scene right now?
Have radiation poisoning from atomic cheesecake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go check that out for sure. I'm gonna indulge in some cannabis products and cannabis accessories and things of that nature, of course, too. That's my medicine, so that I can keep the society around me healthy. But other than that, be an old man and just go chill and watch some jams.
Hell yeah,
what
man.
are you gonna do, bud?
I'm gonna go check out Atomic Cheesecake.
That'd be a good thing. Go check out Atomic Cheesecake.
So if you don't know, you won't know. But tonight, 9:30, Scooter's Bar and Grill, free admission. Atomic Cheesecake plays their first show. Shout out to my buddy Joe.
They're gonna be at the expo too.
Oh yeah, they'll be at the expo as well. But shout out to my buddy Joe. Shout out to Stephen Miller. Shout out to Trevor. Shout out to Caroline. Shout out to everyone in the Atomic Cheesecake.
Everybody that gets on that stage in Amarillo and puts their heart and soul into a project. I love all of them.
Yep. We we'll be out there to go and support local metal, support your local scene, always. And Justin, thank you for coming to my solo podcast.
Right on, man.
Dude,
I had a good time.
Yeah, man, this is great. And honestly, we got hour 30 minutes, and I didn't stumble at all. Most of the time, I'll stumble and be like, but. Yeah, man, I didn't stumble at all. So hell yeah.
All right, man.
We had a great episode.
It was a good episode. I think we can go somewhere with this too.
Hell yeah.
We're not probably straight to hell, but we're going. Nah, we're good people. We love y'all.
Oh yeah. I will be having more episodes coming out. Stay tuned. Thank you for the love and support. Thank you for sharing and commenting, and go check out my page on Facebook, Pacos Chingasos. And yeah, and share the shit out of this episode. Share it with your friends. Share it with your moms.
Please share it with your mom.
Please share it with your moms.
I love your mom.
Hell yes. All right. Thank y'all.
Love crazy mom, love y'all. Thank y'all.
Thanks, Justin.
Appreciate it, bro.
Yep. Just go ahead and just. Hell yeah, dude. I gotta.